When it comes to local authority enforcement, one of the big concerns is local authorities being adequately resourced. And we really believe that local authorities need to be smart about their enforcement, that it should be light touch for the majority of compliant landlords, and they should come down heavy and hard on the criminal element within the rental sector, who do create misery for tenants, for neighbours, and sometimes for whole communities. But too often we see landlords prosecuted for simply not having a licence. It's a bit of an Al Capone scenario, if you like. We can't get you for murder, so we'll get you for tax evasion. We can't get you, or we don't want to invest the resources in a prosecution for poor property conditions, so we'll fine you for not having a licence, because that's nice and easy to prove. But we are beginning to see more and more councils get successful prosecutions. And we are beginning to see larger fines being levied, and that is quite welcome. The average fine for a very long time on housing breaches was around £2,000, and for too many landlords at the bottom end operating in the worst of the sector, that was a risk they were willing to take. Fines are supposed to take account of income and ability to pay and the seriousness of offence, but we just don't believe that was happening. Whether it's a case of judges need better training and more awareness of the fact that they can apply unlimited fines, but we don't believe there's any benefit to the sector of seeing people who have been prosecuted by local authorities, who have been found guilty of very, very serious breaches, who have overcrowded or provided dangerous accommodation, who in all probability have been warned on several occasions by the local authority and being asked to improve things. We don't think there's any benefit in seeing them getting the equivalent of a smack in the wrist. We do want to see hefty fines that act as a deterrent. Of course, one of the issues for local authorities is that fine income disappears to central government, and local authorities it can be quite difficult for them to recover the cost of prosecution. There's the cost of investigation and then the cost of prosecution, and all too often they'll spend far more money prosecuting a landlord than they will ever recover. So we've always argued that was something that needed to change. Councils needed the ability to recover more of their costs and potentially hold on to some of the fine income. Now, with the Housing and Planning Act from April this year, councils are going to be able to serve fixed penalty notices, civil penalties, on landlords who breach housing conditions and housing legislation. And we welcome that because we think it will allow local authorities to fund enforcement more effectively. They will get the reward for taking action against bad landlords. But we have two concerns. The first is that councils will use this as a cash cow. They'll simply fine broadly compliant landlords for minor breaches and use the new system to bring in money that way. And then at the other end of the scale, we're concerned that we'll see landlords, bad landlords, served continual fines, perhaps even of 5, 10, 20, up to £30,000, which is the maximum that can be fined, when actually they really should be getting prosecuted. So we don't want to see serious offences dealt with through fines, when actually, really, prosecution and a criminal record is what these landlords deserve. Or, at the other end of the scale, landlords who are doing their best, who are broadly compliant, who have minor breaches, being hit with fines because it's easy. So, we welcome the new legislation. We think the civil penalty system can be a good thing for compliant landlords and local authorities. We think it will help give local authorities the resources they need to target the very worst in our sector, which is what we all agree should be happening. But what we need to see from government is robust guidance given to local authorities on how the civil penalty regime will be enforced, and we need to see every council produce a code of conduct or guidance on how they will enforce these new measures. We don't want to see good landlords bashed for minor offences, and we don't want to see the crooks and criminals let off with continuous fines when they should be in the courts.